For decades, it was treated almost like a villain. Many people spent years avoiding egg yolks because of the fear of cholesterol. What's interesting is that today, several studies show a very different reality from what people believed in the past, because eggs are not just protein. Inside that simple shell, there is an impressive combination of vitamins, minerals, and substances that directly participate in how the body functions. And when this food becomes part of a daily routine, some changes begin to happen silently. The first one appears in the muscles. The body naturally begins to lose muscle mass. It is a slow process, almost invisible at first, but over time it affects strength, balance, energy, and even a person's independence. Climbing stairs becomes more tiring. Getting out of bed requires more effort. The body feels heavier, and many people do not even realize that nutrition directly influences this. Eggs contain high-quality proteins considered complete because they contain all the essential amino acids the body needs. It is like delivering ready-made raw material for the body to repair tissues, strengthen muscles, and keep the body's structure functioning better. And there is something even more interesting: egg protein helps with satiety. In other words, when a person eats eggs for breakfast, for example, they tend to feel less hungry throughout the day. This can reduce overeating, constant snacking, and that uncontrolled desire to eat sugar or carbohydrates all the time. But what happens inside the brain may be even more surprising. Egg yolks contain choline, a nutrient that is rarely talked about but extremely important. Choline participates in the formation of neurotransmitters linked to memory and brain function. In other words, it helps the brain communicate better, and this becomes even more important with aging because many people begin to notice frequent forgetfulness, walk into a room and forget why they went there. They lose objects, feel mentally slower. Of course, no food performs miracles on its own, but some nutrients can help the brain function more efficiently, and eggs are among the foods richest in this substance. Now, there is one point that draws a lot of attention: vision. Many people believe the eyes age simply because time has passed, but nutrition also deeply affects this process. Egg yolks contain lutein and zeaxanthin, two antioxidants that work almost like small natural shields for the eyes. They help protect the retina from damage caused by light and aging. It is as if the body receives an extra layer of silent protection every single day. And perhaps you are beginning to understand why so many people started looking at eggs differently. But there is still one of the greatest fears linked to this food: cholesterol. For a long time, eggs were accused of increasing bad cholesterol and harming the heart. This caused many people to completely abandon this food. But today, the situation is viewed in a much more complex way. The human body does not function as simply as people imagined decades ago. In many healthy people, the cholesterol found in foods does not automatically cause a dangerous increase in blood cholesterol. In fact, factors such as excess sugar, ultra-processed foods, inactivity, and inflammation usually have a much greater impact. Eggs also contain healthy fats and important nutrients for the body. In addition, they are extremely nutritious relative to the number of calories, meaning they provide a great deal of nutritional value without requiring excess consumption. But attention, this does not mean everyone can overdo it without caution. Every body reacts differently. People with specific health conditions need individualized medical guidance. Balance continues to be the key. Even so, it is impressive to realize how such a simple food was misunderstood for so long, and the effects do not stop there. Many people notice improved energy when they begin consuming eggs regularly. This happens because eggs participate in the body's energy production in several different ways. B vitamins, proteins, healthy fats, and minerals work together like small silent gears. The body stops operating at its limit, and this can reflect in mood, mental energy, and even the willingness to perform simple daily tasks. Now imagine someone who spends years eating breakfast consisting only of white bread, sugar, and coffee. The body receives quick energy but very little real nutrition. Shortly afterward, hunger returns, fatigue appears, and energy crashes. When eggs enter this routine, an important change often happens in satiety, stability, and nutrition. And there is another effect that few people expect: bone health. Eggs contain vitamin D, an essential nutrient for calcium absorption. And as age advances, this becomes increasingly important, especially for women after menopause and older adults in general, because weakened bones increase silent risks that can completely compromise quality of life. A simple fall can change everything. That is why small daily habits make such a difference over the years. The body is always responding to what it receives every single day in silence. And perhaps one of the greatest advantages of eggs is precisely their simplicity. They are affordable, versatile, and easy to prepare. They can be part of breakfast, lunch, or dinner. While many industrialized foods promise health in colorful packaging, eggs remain there, discreet, simple, and powerful. Many people eat eggs together with excessive fried foods, processed meats, ultra-processed products, and highly inflammatory foods. Then they place all the blame on eggs. Context matters. Nutrition works as a whole. There is no point in trying to find health in a single food while the rest of the routine overloads the body every single day. And here is something curious. Many people begin consuming eggs regularly and notice changes even in their skin and hair. This happens because eggs contain biotin, proteins, and nutrients involved in cellular renewal. Of course, results vary, but the body usually gives signs when it starts receiving important nutrients that were previously missing. The human body responds to repeated habits. What you do every single day carries far more weight than what you do only once in a while. Now there is an important question. How many eggs per day would be ideal? The answer depends on several factors: age, routine, level of physical activity, metabolic conditions, and health history. But for many healthy people, consuming 1 to 3 eggs per day is generally considered safe within a balanced diet. More and more specialists are returning to valuing natural and minimally processed foods because the human body seems to respond better to the basics than to an excess of artificial products. And eggs are exactly part of that category: real food. When a person improves their diet, they usually also begin changing other habits. They start drinking more water, sleeping better, walking more, and taking better care of their health. It is as if one small decision opens the door for several other positive changes. And everything begins with awareness, because the body often gives signs long before problems truly appear. Constant fatigue, weakness, excessive hunger, discouragement, memory problems. The body communicates silently all the time. The difficult part is noticing. So perhaps the question is not only what happens when you eat eggs every day. Perhaps the most important question is, what happens when you spend years failing to provide the body with important nutrients it needs to function properly? Sometimes health does not mean searching for complicated solutions. It means returning to simplicity, to the basics, to what the body naturally understands. And perhaps that is exactly what makes eggs so special. Not because they are perfect, but because they continue to be one of the most complete, affordable, and nutritious foods that exist. And the most curious part is realizing that something so common can make such a difference when it becomes part of the routine in the right way. Your body is responding to your habits at this exact moment, silently, every single day. If you regularly eat eggs, share in the comments how your body reacted and what your favorite way to prepare them is. And if you know someone who is still afraid of eating eggs because of cholesterol, share this video with that person, because sometimes a simple piece of information can completely change the way someone takes care of their health. And in the end, perhaps the secret is not searching for miraculous foods, but not ignoring what nature had already been offering for such a long time.